Welcome back to RC 101 with the Taoist Flyer. And ooh, I'm excited today. Thanks to our friends at Silverlit and FlyingToys.com, we've been given the opportunity to test out the new Heli Twister from Silverlit. This aircraft isn't on the market yet, but it will be very soon. And when it hits store shelves, I think people are really going to flip over it. Anyway, the Heli Twister is really something new and different, and it's amazing to fly. I've been having a lot of fun testing it out. It's a 3-channel indoor aircraft that can actually fly nose up and even upside down. Inverted flight is one of those things that a lot of RC pilots dream about, but never really get to experience. 3D-capable helicopters are expensive, and they take a lot of skill and dedication to master. However, the Heli Twister makes flying inverted as easy as flipping a switch. The way it works is actually more complex than you might think. It has 2 main rotors that spin in opposite directions to keep it in the air. It has magnetically operated flaps underneath each rotor that are used to spin the aircraft. And to achieve forward flight, it tilts the entire body a little bit. And to flip, it actually rotates the body around the shaft that the rotors are connected to. It can even fly left and right by speeding up or slowing down one of the rotors. Now, it has 3 flight modes as well as being able to drive on the ground. You can change modes by moving the right stick to the top, middle, or bottom. When it's at the top, it's in normal flight mode. In normal mode, the controls are set up so that the left stick controls up and down, and the right stick controls spin and forward motion. To move left and right, you can press the 2 lower buttons in the center of the transmitter for quick bursts of left-right motion. You can also press the top button to get the nose moving up and down for quick bursts of forward flight, and if you press the middle button, it just seems to make the aircraft spin wildly. When you want to change to nose-up flight, you pull the right stick to the middle and the body will rotate to face nose-up. In this mode, it works like a 2.5-channel helicopter. You can control up and down, and you can spin using the flaps, but there's no forward flight. However, you can roll left and right by pushing the roll buttons for quick bursts of speed, but I've found that with practice you can actually use the dial that affects the left-right trim to actually control the aircraft's left-right motion more precisely. When you want to switch to inverted flight, you pull the right stick all the way down and the canopy will invert itself. When you're flying upside down, it's also like a 2.5-channel heli. The left stick controls up and down, the right stick controls spin, and you can move left and right with the buttons or by using the trim dial. It does move forward slowly on its own when it's upside down. Another interesting feature worth noting is the small weight in the nose of the canopy that slides back and forth. From what I can tell, it's there so that when the nose faces up, the center of gravity is towards the center of the aircraft. But when you're flying in normal mode, it slides forward to change the center of gravity and help pull the aircraft forward. It's just another example of brilliant and artistic engineering at work. Now there's a trim button below the right stick that affects spin. If the aircraft is slowly spinning left on its own, click the right trim button until it stops. However, if it seems like the trim isn't having an effect, you can twist the rotors on the shaft in opposite directions ever so slightly, and it will help counteract the spin. I found that twisting the rotors like this and using the trim buttons as well is a great way to get the aircraft to fly straight. Now with this aircraft, trim is very important. I found it easier to set the left-right roll trim with the dial first, then I set the spin trim with the buttons or by twisting the rotors. On your first flight, don't worry about flying upside down until you get the aircraft trimmed. You want it to hover in one place without spinning. Once you get it trimmed, it is amazingly stable. It's very easy to hover, spin, flip, and do all types of stunts. It is hard to turn while it's flying forward at full speed because of a little notch on the transmitter that the right stick slides into when you push it all the way forward. If you're going fast, you need to stop and then turn and then go forward again. I might try to drill them out to see if I can fly forward and turn at the same time. Now, if you crash while upside down or nose up, don't worry, it's a strong aircraft. Just remember, you need to return the transmitter stick to normal flight mode before the rotors will spin up again. Now, flight times are pretty long at 8 to 10 minutes, charge times are quick at about 35 minutes, and it can be charged with a Silverlit USB cable if you have one. It's relatively quiet compared to other indoor helis, and it's very smooth in the air. The fun factor is way up there. Once you start flipping and flying around, you realize that with a little practice and skill, there are some really cool little stunts you can pull off. It's not like any other aircraft that I've ever flown, and honestly, I've had a great time testing it out. It's a great indoor living room flyer, and it looks extremely cool in the air. It's reminiscent of the Hunter Killer from Terminator and of one of my personal favorites, the Doak Model 16. I've always had a thing for side-by-side rotor aircraft. I loved the Osprey Full Tilt and the Space Phoenix, and I have to say that the Heli Twister is another great example of the type of thing I love to see from Silverlit and Airhogs. These type of aircraft are wonderful examples of engineering and aircraft design, and they're fun for everyone. They're resilient enough to handle crashes from novice pilots, but they're also fun for experienced flyers as well. I definitely want to give a special thanks to Silverlit and FlyingToys.com for letting us test out this amazing aircraft. It'll be on store shelves soon, and we definitely suggest you add one to your collection and flip to your heart's content. Thanks for tuning in to RC101 with the Taoist Flyer. Subscribe and stay tuned for more.